find it so inspiring. Like there are people that I follow on social media when I remember like when they went through a really hard time and I saw them get through the other side of it. And that's just really witnessing someone's journey. And I love that. And that's something that inspires me. So I'm like, I want to create that. I don't want people to think that this is some perfect Instagram or Facebook account.
Hey there, welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast. I'm your host, Susanne Riker, here to help yoga and wellness entrepreneurs build a thriving online business. If you're ready to make a bigger impact and earn money online, you are in the right place. Each week you learn about websites, digital products, social media strategies, and what's working now to build your online business. And now let's get started.
Brytta, welcome to the Blissful Biz podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and to chat with you and to just dive in about social media with your community. I'm so happy to be here.
Me too. I'm really excited to have you. Let's start by introducing yourself a little bit. Just tell our listeners or viewers what you do.
Yes. So my name is Brytta Moreira. And I recently changed my business a little bit. I was a traveling yoga teacher, teaching people how to become traveling yoga teachers. But then I moved to Portugal to set roots here and to really work on my business. And now I help people grow their businesses from the online perspective, especially women. I'm all about, helping women step into their greatest potential. So I help them with their social media, their websites, and just how they communicate to people in their business with what their products are, their services are. And I really just help them stand in their power so that they can get clients, so they can grow an online community, and so that they can just show up as their strongest and highest vibrational selves.
I love it. And I think you're actually the first guest on the show who's here for the second time. So it's so amazing, the journey that you've been on, that I've been on, that we've all been on since, when was it? Like early 2020, I think, that we talked.
Yeah.
The last
it was like,
time.
Was it the week of the pandemic?
It was early in the pandemic for sure. Yes. Oh my God.
So much has changed since then.
And then we've met in Portugal, which was so amazing. And now we also work together. So you're supporting our students inside the Blissful Biz Incubator. And it's so especially around social media and content. So I wanted to dive in deeper into that because, I'm not really focused on it so much in teaching. So I'm really excited about your expertise. And I love how you're showing up on social media and how you build a really engaged community, even without a huge following. Right. I think that's like the first step is really recognizing that it's not about the number, it's about the engagement and connecting with the right people. So can you share, I don't really know, where do we start actually? Share a little bit about what you do. What do you focus on social media?
Absolutely. So my main focus on social media is to create connection and to really create relationships through social media. I really believe that we can build an online community that flourishes into an in-person community if that is what we want. Some of my best friends I have met through Instagram, through the relationships I have created through my content, through talking to people in my DMs, connecting to people in my stories and reels. And I really think, even though it's an online platform, that we can create those human connections. And just like you and I, we met through social media and then we met in real life. And I think that is the key to getting clients, to building a beautiful community, to selling memberships, courses, is by being a human on social media. That is everything I'm about.
And you're also focusing on Instagram, right? Or do you use other platforms in the same way?
I use Instagram and Facebook. Facebook I use more for teaching private yoga classes and advertising my classes, because I found out that Facebook is just where a lot of my one-on-one clients live. I teach a lot of yoga to women, especially women who are over 50 years old, and a lot of them hang out on Facebook. And then Instagram, I'm doing that more for building a community, and I'm going to be launching an online group coaching soon. So I really just want to connect with people. And I also really enjoy learning from people. Like maybe I have this idea to launch something and it might not jive with everyone in my platform. So really just researching and talking to people and learning, like, what are they into? What do they want to learn? And how can I help them grow?
Where do you start? Like, how do you structure your social media updates?
Yeah, absolutely. So I start every quarter, I create a content calendar. And I know not everyone's into content calendars, but I'm someone who really enjoys writing. So I love writing all of my content, whether it's a reel, a carousel, or a post, because it's like a rough draft. It's not online yet. I can change things. And that's where I can really visually see what I want to create. And then I'll test it out for a month. Let's say I'll have a whole month of content. And then at the end of every month, I'll see, okay, like this worked, this didn't. Should I change this content? Should I throw it out? Should I keep with it? And it's really just a way for me to test what works and what doesn't work. And it's also a way for me to just see, like, how is my community engaging? Are they enjoying this content? Have they communicated to me that they might want some kind of other content, that they want to learn something else? And that's where I start, is just on a calendar. I write all of my posts and then I turn them into content. I take every Sunday 2 to 3 hours and I record my content for the week, whether I go to the beach and I film some yoga classes, or I'm at my desk filming some things about business. And I really think just changing it up a little bit. Sometimes I feel like we can just film against a white wall every single day, and that's not really engaging. So can we create a colorful background to make it more engaging? Can we go outside and see what nature is around us and film there? Like, how can we get creative while also being consistent?
Wow. So thanks for sharing that. First, I was like, oh my God, she writes the content for 3 months in advance. I was like, oh my God, that would have been really overwhelming. I can't even create a content calendar for a month in advance, to be completely honest. I tried it. And I just do it weekly. So I have I know like my promotions, obviously, and what I want to talk about. And then I just do it weekly. But it sounds like you have that quarterly overview, right? And then you just break it down every single week, or also monthly, or?
Yeah, so I break it down by week because I film every Sunday, and I have a quarterly overview just so I can stay on topic, because I'm passionate about so many things that sometimes in the past I would just start filming about anything that I'm like, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with my business. So it kind of just keeps me on track with what I need to talk about. And then I give myself the flexibility to change that content every week, whether there's a holiday, whether there's some kind of trend that I need to be aware of. But just having some kind of overview helps me stay organized and on task.
And you say you film videos every Sunday. So how many, is there like a percentage? How much is video content? What's the other content do you share? What's working for you there?
I'd say right now that reels are working really well for me. It's something I had to get used to. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do reels. Like being on video is kind of scary. But then I'm like, you know what? It's the same as teaching yoga. Like, I have to be in a room of people and I have to be the teacher and be teaching people what they came to me to learn about. And I can do the same with my social media. So I typically film like 3 types of wellness, yoga pieces of content, and then I'll film 2 business content. So I post my content Monday through Friday, and then I take Saturday and Sunday off so I can go and enjoy life. But I really I want to give them that mix. Like, it doesn't have to all be yoga. Like, what else can we learn from yoga? What other skills can we learn that can connect us to yoga that I can also teach to people?
I love it. And do you feel like, so we've started with talking about connection and community. Do you use your content there as well, like your reels, to build that connection? Or is this more happening in stories? Or how does it really work? Can you talk about that? Because I feel it's for so many people, it's like they feel they're just like posting and sharing, and it's nothing coming back. They don't get any feedback, and that can feel like it's just costing a lot of energy. You never get anything back. How did that evolve, or was there like? How does that feel for you?
These are great questions, and I love them. And I think because social media is constantly changing and evolving, something I do is with the content that's on my feed. So my reels and my carousels, that's more about my business. And then on my stories, I just share with people my day-to-day life. I share with them maybe about a book I'm reading, somewhere in Portugal I'm traveling to, because I really want to create human connection. You know, we can be posting content every day, but if we can't show up as a human, it's not really relatable. So just because, you know, I teach yoga and I'm a businesswoman, it doesn't mean that I also like have a pet cat. I also love like certain desserts I love to eat. I want to show people that we can be human while still showing up in our businesses. And I also think about the captions. And I'm someone, like I said earlier, I love to write and I love to show that creative side of me. I noticed that when I have a platform to write my heart out in, that is how I connect to people. And that is how I've always connected to people. I'll be like writing on social media, and then I will be teaching somewhere like a yoga retreat center, and people come up and be like, oh my God, I love like what you wrote the other day. Like I really related to that. And I think it's just finding those ways on how we can be relatable. So whether it's your captions, whether it's showing up in your stories. And I know that showing up in your stories might be a little scary for some people because it's really that raw face-to-face experience. But, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like we go on social media because we want to feel something. We want to have connection. So what a great place to create connection and teach people that, yes, it's a screen, but you can have that human connection if you go on my stories, if you read my captions, if you follow my journey. An example was over the summer, I was moving to Portugal and I was having a hard time getting here through bureaucracy. So I brought it to my social media and I got my whole community involved in it. And now everyone all the time is like, how is Portugal? Did you make it there? Like, how's your business going? Because I got people involved. And when you share that human side of you through your stories and your captions, that's really going to captivate people and it's going to want them to be a part of your journey.
I think it's especially sharing the struggles that you went through, right? Not only the highlights, my life is amazing, look at that beautiful sunset, or
exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, sorry,
your cat out of the way. Your cat in the background.
Yes, I've like given her treats. I've opened doors for her, so I'm like, she'll stay quiet during this, but it's not happening.
I should get Luna. Let's see, she's coming downstairs. She's still going crazy. There's so many cats here where I'm staying right now in Valdemossa. I always have to be really careful when I'm going with her on the walk in the city, like having a really on the short leash, because she's just like, shoo!
Yes. She's fast. I've seen her.
Oh my God. If there would be a cat under the car, she would be so fast. Trying to attack that cat is scary. Yes.
Yeah, Matcha, she's loud, but I let her go on my yoga altar. So that's one of her favorite places. So she'll be quiet now.
Yes. So the cat, I remember you also shared on Instagram when she was sick. And did you think about that? About like what content types you share, like content buckets, or is this something that just happens organically?
I think for me, it happens organically. But I think a good rule that I have had to teach myself is to set like emotional boundaries on social media. Like I don't need to share everything about my life, but so many people know Matcha because she's been around for the past 5 years. They see her in my yoga classes on social media that I'm like, okay, like I'll share about this, or I'll share about the struggles I'm having to move to a country because it's number one, it's relatable, but I also find it so inspiring. Like there are people that I follow on social media when I remember like when they went through a really hard time and I saw them get through the other side of it. And that's just really witnessing someone's journey. And I love that. And that's something that inspires me. So I'm like, I want to create that. I don't want people to think that this is some perfect Instagram or Facebook account. Like that isn't yoga either at the end of the day. Like I feel like we practice yoga because we're dealing with the very real things that are happening to us in our day-to-day lives. So if we can bring a little bit of that onto social media. It doesn't have to be every week. I hope it's not every week, but maybe it's once every couple months. Maybe it's, a crisis that you're dealing with, and maybe you feel alone and you just feel like you want to share it on your social media, because at the end of the day, like I said, we all connect through being human, through our human moments, and we don't have to plan that type of content because that's life. But I think knowing that it's a mix, and like someone I follow from day one, who was at Rachel Braden, I found her to be really inspiring on social media because she was human. Like I followed her before I even practiced yoga. And I was like, wow, like this is someone who might post like a photo next to a palm tree, but she's having a really crappy day. And I'm like, that's relatable. Like, can I share a photo of a sunset or a video of it and be like, this is actually what happened in my day? And I'm watching this sunset because I need to see something good happen today. Like, can we let ourselves share those raw human experiences in the hopes of either getting it off of our chest or in the hopes of meeting someone who might be going through something similar and maybe meeting up with them in real life or just having a conversation with them on social media?
I love that. I also love that you said boundaries, because I think this is something that's really important. Being vulnerable or sharing on social media doesn't mean that you have to share your life 24/7. I think that's, you can have boundaries. You can decide, I don't want to talk about my relationship, or I don't want to talk about my children and show pictures of them. Or you do it, whatever you prefer. There are probably people judging it anyway, either way, and that's fine. Let them. But also, I also remember Yoga Girl, that was Rachel Braden. I think her account really exploded, basically, her followings, when she started sharing about her grief.
Yeah.
And then I think she once shared how she lost so many followers, but the people who stayed, they are the one that she really built a connection with, who weren't there just for the beautiful handstand pics of a girl in a bikini on the beach. It's never about the quantity of followers. I think that's so important to remember. It's about the relationship that you have with your followers. And if they're just like 100 people or 200 people, that's great.
Yeah. I agree with that. At the end of the day, the numbers don't matter. I think it's like who shows up for you, who shows up for your content, for your offerings, or even if they don't buy something from you, maybe they comment cheering you on. And that is something so beautiful. Like the people who show up for you day to day on social media, no matter what kind of day you're having. And I remember her sharing her grief and all those people leaving her and the people showing up for her. And I found that really inspiring, because those are the real people. Like, even though we all have our social media names, like there are real people behind those screens, like living that with us. And that is beautiful.
Yes. And it wasn't planned. It was like authentic. She just didn't have another choice. It was like for her, it was just, that's the only thing I can do right now. Yeah. Was it always easy for you to show up like on video or really share more about your life, or did this evolve and was this practice?
I think it evolved. I started Instagram. I remember I was a freshman in college, and it was just when it was a photo platform. And I was more nervous about the photos I posted versus what I said, because I'm like not a photographer. And I was in New York City, and I'm like, okay, like I will show photos of me living in New York City because that's what I have right now. I wasn't a yoga teacher yet. I still had 2 years until I became that. But I just started falling in love with the storytelling side of it, sharing people. Like I took a poetry class in college today. This is a poem that I read about. This is the author. Then I started getting into yoga and sharing about my yoga journey. And I really just let it evolve. And I didn't have any motive behind it at the time. I was just figuring out the app. And then I just started really falling in love with writing. I started a travel blog. And rather than like writing about the places people should go or the restaurants people should eat, I shared my very human and emotional experiences of being a traveling yoga teacher. Like one time I somehow ended up in like an Irish Grammy nominated music video by accident. Like I was at the right place at the right time. And I shared about that on my social media, turned it into a blog post, and I just let it evolve. And now I just love telling my story on it. And that's why I use social media, because I love storytelling. I love connecting with people through their stories. And I think you can get practice at your writing or practice at what you share, especially for videos. That is something I feel I'm practicing every day. I'm figuring out angles, I'm figuring out lighting, and I'm also accepting that I don't want to be perfect, nor do I have to show up as perfect on social media.
Oh, I think that's so important, right? It's so easy to compare ourselves to other people who have that perfect content. And I think I had one student that she's like scared to do yoga videos because she doesn't have that nice space with like in the background. And it doesn't matter. It's about your voice showing up. And the most important thing is really consistency. I feel you can't really post something like 2 times a week and then stop for 3 weeks and then post something again and then complain that it's not working.
Exactly. Your content doesn't have to be perfect, but you do need to show up consistently. Like I said, I show up Monday through Friday. I make it clear to my Instagram followers, I take weekends off, and I let them know that. And I share with them the importance of going offline. But I also tell them, like, Monday, I'm going to be back. Like, this is what I'm going to teach you this year. And I agree. Like, there are definitely people who will show up and then they'll disappear and then they'll come back. And then they wonder, why am I not selling spots in my class? Why am I not selling spots in my group coaching? Why aren't people engaging with my social media? And it's because you're not there every day. If you show up on a consistent schedule and people know when you're going to post, people know when you're going to be online, then they're going to show up for you. But you have to do the work to be the consistent person on your platform.
I believe consistency is so important as well. I don't really get it that you have to show up like at the same day or time each week. Like, I never really think about that as somebody else. If they go live, or this is like the same day and time as they did last week or something. I never noticed these things. Maybe that's why I think it's not so important.
But I understand this, and I just learned this a month ago. And the reason being is because I moved to Portugal and I realized that a lot of my followers are on Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
I'm like, it doesn't make sense to post at like 8 a.m. Portugal time when it's like, 3 a.m. in New York City. And that's how I learned it. I was like, oh my God, like my followers aren't engaging because they're not awake. And I was like, so now I'm like scheduling my posts for like 12:30 my time, which is 7:30 a.m. New York City time. And that's why I do it, because I was realizing like, oh my God, where'd everyone go?
Oh my God, I'm so happy. Yeah, I've never really thought about it this much. I mean, I send out my newsletters and things in the afternoon in Europe. So I know they arrive in the morning in the US time zones. But sometimes I'm just like, I just want to share it now. You're like 11 a.m. here or 9 a.m. and I don't worry. And I think the algorithm is just going to show it to them anyway. So sometimes it's like, because when I go in my feed and I see posts that people posted, they show up in my feed, and then I go to their profile and actually they have like 2 newer posts that don't show up in my feed. It's so weird, right? It's not chronological anyway anymore. But good to know that you actually saw a difference. So it might be something to think about and consider. When is your audience actually online still?
Exactly. And I just think about it from like a standpoint of people who work a 9 to 5. Like when are they at home scrolling on their phone? When are they commuting? When is lunchtime? I think about things like that because then I know, okay, these are the times people are going to be on social media.
Yeah. Always depending on your audience, but yeah, definitely. Probably in the day as well. Come on, they're all checking their social media when they're at the desk.
All the time. Yes, they are.
Come on. What was the next question I wanted to ask you? So we talked about boundaries. We talked about sharing vulnerably, like how it takes practice as well. And is there anything that has helped you really showing up on video, on being consistent with that?
I think not being afraid to mess up. Like I'm someone who talks really fast and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, I don't know if anyone understood me. So then I might post like a blooper of me like messing up a video or a reel. Like I post videos all the time of me falling out of yoga poses. Like I think that has helped me show up stronger on my social media, is just like not being afraid to fail or fall out of something or mess something up. And it just shows that I'm being human. And I also think really playing with lighting, that's something I had no idea about. And I live somewhere where it's just sun all the time through my windows, and that is not always good for video. So I had to figure out certain times of day to film things. And that has taken me a couple months to figure out. Or maybe like I'll go outside and I'll film a sunset class, and really just playing with the lighting has helped me, and not getting too in my head about it. I feel like with videos, whether it's your story or your reel, we could film the same thing 10 times, but why are we wasting that time? Like just do it once or twice and pick the one that you think is best and go with it. No one is going to be like, oh, that's a terrible video. Wow, she did like terrible at this. No one's going to say that. Like that is just your own inner critic. So maybe learning how to silence the inner critic, or not letting it take up too much space in your mind, so you can just get that consistent content done and then move on to what else you need to work on in your business.
That's such an important point. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I'm very strict about that as well. I'm just like 2 takes max.
Exactly.
2 takes max for a reel, and then I just put it out there. And with Instagram stories, normally just like, because they're gone after 24 hours anyway. So I'm just like, even if it's not perfect, put it out there. And we all, especially when we're just starting a business, we tend to spend way too long on tasks because it's the only thing we have. It's time, right? And so to discipline yourself there in a way, to set boundaries for yourself, I think it's really, really important. And it can really help you achieve so much more in a shorter amount of time. It's going to help you collapse time.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that applies to everything. Yeah.
It does. Everything in your business. I think it helps you emotionally detach yourself a bit. And it doesn't mean that you don't have to put your heart into your business, but maybe caring a little bit less about social media and about the perfectionism of it, and just showing up. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I mean, I like things to look nice too, like most people, right?
Of course.
And I actually like going through my feed sometimes and see like, where was I actually, what did I post like 1 or 2 years ago? And to see how it evolved. And of course, it's like a highlight reel in a way, right? So in my case, it's a business related account. So it's not so much the highlights of my life, but of course, I also share about my travels, or when I got my puppy and things like that. And I do it because I enjoy it. Yeah. I have fun using Instagram for sure. I feel, it's probably harder when you don't have that, when you feel really negative about social media. Or do you have any tips for people who are like, who are really struggling there?
Yeah, I think I understand like how it can be harder, why you might feel negativity towards it. Like some people think it's like this fake platform where you have to, be perfect and be this cookie cutter type of person. And my suggestion or advice is to not worry about what other people are doing on social media, and just be concerned about yourself and how you want to show up. And even, if you're scared, like show up anyway. Like, can you do something that scares you today and kind of takes you out of your comfort zone a little bit? And know that you don't have to know the social media trends. You don't have to know all these perfect hashtags or how to make reels, but just allow yourself, give yourself permission to show up. And maybe after showing up on social media, sit with yourself, journal about it. Like, how did that feel doing something outside of my comfort zone? Would I be willing to do it again? Like, what did I learn? How did I grow from this experience? And if that is something that is really going to help you grow, do that. Like, I challenge you to do that for a month, just every day, showing up on social media. How does that make me feel? And see how you feel after trying it for a month.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Just like realize the potential for your personal growth, right? Stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I think we all have that. Showing up on video or listening to your own voice, it's deeply uncomfortable for everybody when you're not used to that. Maybe when you're an actor, you went through acting training, where you study that, but otherwise, when do we hear our own voice? Or when do we see ourselves on video this much? I think now with Zoom, everybody got used to it a little bit more. But a lot of people don't use Zoom on a daily basis. So for me, it's really is this journey of self-discovery and self-acceptance. So that helped me reframe my mindset around showing up. I was really struggling with doing videos for a long time. And I think before I started my podcast, it took at least a year just thinking about it seriously before I finally got it done. And now I love it. And now I'm taking the podcast to video to YouTube, which was deeply uncomfortable. I probably talked about that for a year as well before I got down to it. So I think it's normal that we feel like challenged by those new things that are a little bit outside of our comfort zone. And it's also, I think it's okay if it takes a little bit of time. I'm giving myself grace here. I was busy. I did other things. I'm still happy with where I am today. Would I maybe have grown faster if I would have done more videos? Maybe, but I can't change it anyway. So I'm just happy with where I am today. And appreciate everything that I'm learning on this crazy journey.
I love that you shared that, like the uncomfortability of it and how it took you a whole year. I am with you on that, just showing up and allowing yourself that grace to grow with it. And, something I was struggling with on my social media recently was showing up with my face. And my coach told me, like, I want you to write down like 30 things that make you amazing and then show up on social media with that energy. And that really helped me because I was getting insecure about it. I was afraid that it wasn't going to look good or I was going to say something stupid. And then I wrote that and I'm like, oh, like, okay, if I can like write these 30 nice things about myself, like I can show up with that same confidence on my social media. And I understand like that struggle and that journey and knowing that like you are your own critic and no one else thinks that way about you. So can we be a little bit kinder to ourselves?
It's so hard, right? Now on Instagram, I use filters, of course, and you have like the right camera position. So it's okay. I'm comfortable. I don't really look like that in real life, but that's okay. And no, I don't use really bad filters, but now right now, on the first YouTube video, there are no filters. And I watched the first videos like, I don't really like. And then I was like, no, it doesn't matter what I look like. If I probably the camera could be in a better position or the light, but it doesn't matter. It's okay. I think when we do that, we make it about ourselves instead of about our audience. And it's about them and helping them and, like teaching them. And so even if I don't like to watch like the full video, that's fine. Going to get easier. I think it's just like, I'm still doing it.
Exactly. You're still showing up. And I love what you said about not making it about yourself, but, making it about your community, the people you're serving. And I think if we come from that perspective every day of who do I want to serve? How do I want to help people? And sharing your heart in that way, that is what's going to grow your community because that's what people are there for. And then it's going to inspire other people to go and serve other people. And then you're creating other communities just by showing up every day.
Yes, definitely. I love that. So how do you actually then, first step, obviously grow a community, but then how to use that to grow your business, to sell your offers?
Yeah. So I love to sell. I get really excited about it. I feel like it's a game. I'm like, oh, how many can I sell this week? How many can I sell that week? I think that Instagram and Facebook, they have really great tools where you can link your offerings, whether it's in your bio or in your stories or even sharing your post in a story and then linking it and talking about it every day. And I know you might sound like a broken record, like, oh, I got to talk about my freebie for the 10th time this month, but you're not a broken record. And if you're passionate about it, and again, you're coming from that service perspective, share those links every day. Maybe you go on Canva, which is this free graphic designer tool that we can use to create a carousel. And we can talk about what that offer is and then post it as a carousel on our Instagram. But I think not being afraid to talk about what you have to offer and talk about it every day, and not from like this salesy perspective, but from knowing that your offer is going to help someone or it's going to help many people, and just going back to that being of service perspective and reminding people how to find your services. You know, we can write a great caption, but if we don't write a call to action, what was the point of that? So write a strong call to action at the end in your stories, in your captions, and tell people, hey, if you want to take this yoga class, if you want to connect with me deeper, here's my email newsletter, here's my group coaching. And just remind people, like, there are many times where I've wanted to buy services, but I couldn't figure out how because they didn't tell me where to go. They forgot to link it in their Instagram bio. They talked about it, but didn't tell me where to go find it. And that's just putting the puzzle together. So not only talking about your offer, but telling them where they can find it, how they can find it, how long it's available for. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, about talking up your offers. And I think especially in the wellness industry, at least when I first started out, like, we weren't taught about business. We weren't taught about sales. And if anything, we feared it. But there's nothing wrong with that. And knowing that you're going to help someone at the end of the day, how beautiful is that? So just keep talking about it and putting those puzzle pieces together of, this is what I offer, this is where you can find it, and this is how it's going to serve you.
I love that. Every single day. Start selling every single day. Yes. That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom here with us today. So where can people go to learn more about you?
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at Brytta Moreira, and I'm going to be launching my new website soon, probably by the end of February. And it's going to be called theyogahostel.com because I'm going to be opening a yoga hostel here in Portugal. So you can find that by the end of February. But right now, connect with me on Instagram at Brytta Moreira.
I'll add the links to the show notes, of course, and below the video. So thanks so much for being here, Brytta. It was really amazing to have you on the show. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Blissful Biz podcast. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes. This would mean the world to me. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to never miss a new episode. To learn more about how to work with me one-on-one, my courses and membership, or to get instant access to freebies, workshops, and more, go to susannereiker.com right now. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.